This video is brought to you by America First Insight. Help support the growing conservative movement by becoming a member today. And if you want to support this channel, you can also use the code REAL when becoming a member. Thank you and enjoy the video. Well, most of you have probably seen this by now, but for those that haven't, Axios released a brand new article a little while ago claiming that the Republican Party is now fearful they're going to lose the Senate come November. And let's be clear about one thing. I am not saying that Republicans aren't in trouble for the midterms. In fact, I think right now, Democrats are the favorites to win the House as of now. And they could maybe gain a couple seats in the Senate. But really, we're doing this again. I mean, listen, it's one thing to say Republicans could lose a Senate seat or two, but no, according to Axios, we're talking about a full-blown panic. It's all over for the GOP. They're going to lose every single Senate seat. It's going to be a super majority for Democrats. Nonsense like that. Top Republicans are increasingly worried about private polling that paints a dire picture of the midterms. And it's not just the House they're afraid of losing, it's also the Senate. President Trump has warned Republicans that lose their slim House majority could lead to a third impeachment. But a Democratic takeover of the Senate would be a political earthquake and neuter his last 2 years in office. So this is what they're worried about. They kind of expect that they're going to lose the House. Historically speaking, that's not a surprise to really anybody. I mean, once in a while, the party in power, they could maybe keep the House. But lately, if you're the party in power, you're going to lose the House and lose a couple Senate seats more than likely. But now they're not just saying they're going to lose the House. They now believe, and according to them, it's the first time that GOP strategists are claiming they could lose the Senate. It's a distinct possibility. Right now, they have a 53-47 majority, and they're panicking about this. Operatives said they have reviewed polling that shows the GOP facing competitive Senate races, not just in traditional battlegrounds such as Michigan, Maine, and North Carolina, but also in conservative states like Alaska, Iowa, and Ohio. Top GOP strategists acknowledge that immigration and the economy, the two issues that drove Trump's win in 2024, are now liabilities. A year ago, I would have told you we were almost guaranteed to win the Senate. One GOP operative who's reviewed internal polling told Axios. Today, I would have to tell you it's far less certain. So it's clear within the Republican Party, they're panicking about the state of the Senate, about how they're going to lose it. And they named two things: immigration and the economy. And they most notably mentioned these are now liabilities. Okay. Now let's be clear. I'm not going to deny that, yes, the issue of the economy is not that good for Trump. Let's be clear about that. Right now, the economy, it's getting slightly better. Even the polls are showing that, yeah, it's slightly improving. But still, voters are not happy about the state of the economy. And same thing with immigration. A couple months ago, Trump was very popular on the issue. Now, not so much. But here's the catch that nobody mentions. They might not have as big of a lead on these issues. They still do. There's plenty of polls out there right now that still shows Republicans they're trusted on the economy and immigration. Not as much as they were a couple of years ago, but this idea that they're now liabilities on these issues, maybe the economy, but not immigration. Even to this day, people trust Republicans over Democrats on immigration because they realized, oh, wait a minute. The Biden administration, they failed miserably. They let in millions of people every single year. God knows where they went. A lot of them were really bad people. And yeah, Republicans are being too harsh about immigration when in reality they're not. But either way, voters still trust Republicans on these issues. Not as much as they did, but even after the nonsense in Minneapolis and the state of the economy, voters are still saying that they would trust Republicans on both immigration and the economy. Not as much as it should be. That is a concern. But it's not a liability. I don't get why people are saying it's a liability. A liability would be, oh, Democrats are up on the issue by 30 points. They're down by like 5 points on both of those issues. Not as much as they were. I'll give you that, but it's not a liability. Democrats are still not trusted on these issues. The simmering concerns went semi-public this week when Republican leaders sounded the alarm during a closed meeting with senators. Senator Tim Scott, chair of the National Republican Senatorial Committee, delivered a sobering message about the party's headwinds. A slide presentation indicated the party's toughest challenge, based on its national polling deficit, is in Maine, where Republican Senator Susan Collins faces a tough path for re-election. Yeah, like I don't get why there's such a panic about this. Like, yeah, Susan Collins is in a Democrat state. Now, she is a very strong candidate, and the public polling shows she's winning right now, but it's still a Harris plus 5 state or whatever it was in 2024. It's still voted for Harris by a big margin. If they're panicking about Maine, that doesn't really scream to me to be a widespread panic about every single state. Like, okay, Maine's one thing, but is that really a surprise that you're concerned about Maine? Here's what's sending off GOP bills with the Senate. The map's expanding. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is taking a lot of darts from his own party these days, but Republicans privately conceded he's done a good job of recruiting Senate candidates in conservative states, one seat out of reach for Democrats, which, yeah, that is one thing Schumer's done. He's gotten top Democrat recruits across the board. Sherrod Brown in Ohio, Patola in Alaska, and Osborne in Nebraska. Like, they have good candidates. Let's be clear about that. They are running very strong candidates. Even if Democrats fail to win either race, Republicans now have to spend potentially tens of millions of dollars to defend these seats, which, yeah, that is a serious problem. We have to worry about Ohio and Alaska, especially Alaska. Ohio, guys, the state of the race in Ohio, looking bad for Brown. He lost the race already in 24 against a much weaker candidate. Now he's not the incumbent. And in fact, a bunch of the unions that backed him in 24, they support John Huston now. So it's like the dynamics of the race in Ohio do not favor Democrats at all. So at this point right here, yes, it's a serious concern. Democrats are going to be able to force Republicans to spend a bunch of money here. But I don't think it's going to cause these states to flip. And of course, they mentioned Texas. If incumbent Senator John Cornyn loses the upcoming primary to State Attorney Ken Paxton, polls suggest it could open the door to a Democrat winning Cornyn's seat in November. Guys, we've gone over this a million times. Against Tel Rico, different story. Like, maybe he's a strong candidate, but against Jasmine Crockett, seriously? Jasmine Crockett's an extremely weak candidate. She appeals to nobody. And this happens in Texas every year. Did everyone just forget what happened in 2024? Ted Cruz is in trouble. He's up by only 1 point. He won by a big margin. The polls were claiming he was losing or up by such a small margin. He won by a wide margin. And Ken Paxton, I'm not saying he's the strongest electoral candidate, but realistically, do you think any Republican voter would vote for Jasmine Crockett over Ken Paxton? Realistically, no. And like Axios reports, the Democrat primary is a shit show now. You have Crockett and Tel Rico hating each other. It's getting very ugly. And I do think that Ken Paxton will win this November. Is it by 20 points? No, it will be closer than Ted Cruz won. But against Jasmine Crockett, more than likely, possibly Tel Rico, but after the whole shit with Allred, I think it's be Crockett. But yeah, Republicans might spend a bit more money there, but do you really think Crockett's gonna beat Ken Paxton? These same polls in Texas do this shit every year. They promote the same crap. Ted Cruz is gonna underperform by a huge margin. He's gonna lose in 2018. It was close. He still won. 24, Ted Cruz is going to lose or win by a small margin, won by a decent margin. Even 2020 in Texas. Oh, it's a toss-up. Anybody's going to win this race. Trump wins by a decent margin. This happens in Texas every year. Maybe not to the extent of 2026, but still, it's not this guarantee that Republicans lose. Will it be closer? Sure. But so far, I'm not really seeing a a glaring problem here. This is not a glaring disaster for Republicans. I like, okay, Maine could be in trouble. The races in Ohio and Alaska, they could be closer. That that's not enough to win the Senate. I'm confused. Like, what are people panicking about here? And of course, they mention Georgia. The GOP's failure to recruit popular Governor Brian Kemp for Senate has been a major setback. Well, the dumbass decided to support some random guy nobody ever heard about, and right now he's not doing too good. And more than likely, they're going to nominate Mike Collins. More than likely, he's going to be the nominee. Georgia is definitely a very tough state for the GOP to win right now. Could that maybe change? We'll see. But you don't need Georgia to get the majority. So I'm confused. Like, what's the problem here? Okay, they have to spend a bit more money in Alaska and Ohio and maybe Texas. They still think Democrats are going to lose all three of these races. Okay, Republicans don't win Georgia. So, and on top of this, Axios reports correctly that Democrats could nominate some awful candidates in Iowa. I don't get why people are obsessed with Iowa still. This happens every year as well. Iowa's be close. It goes Republican. And we're not even talking about the shit show happening in Michigan. Mike Rogers has that nomination locked up. The Democrat side is a shit show. It's a circus. Nobody wants to win. It's a disaster for the Democrat side. And Axios also mentions that right now, the pro-Senate GOP super PAC has nearly 3 times as much cash to spend as its Democrat counterpart. The GOP will also benefit from the pro-Trump MAGA Inc. super PAC, which has a staggering $304 million in cash on hand. And we didn't even mention Elon Musk. He's been cutting fuck you money to all these conservative groups. So Republicans, they don't have a money issue. You notice that? Like, they complain about the money. You have Elon Musk just casually dropping $10 million on Nate Morse in Kentucky, for crying out loud. So we don't have a money issue. If this was 10 years ago, that's a different story. Like, okay, we're going to have to spend more money in Ohio and Iowa or whatever. We don't got infinite money. Difference is we do now. And we're not even talking about the other groups that Republicans have hundreds of millions of dollars. They have up to a couple $billion ready to be spent this year, just in the reserves. Like, that's what the donors are going to give, like $2 billion expected, not including Elon Musk giving fuck you money to everybody. So we don't got a money issue. And funny enough, Axios also reported that a GOP strategist said, sometimes I think the panickins in our party would be better off spending their money on Depends to help control all their bedwetting. Yeah, you have a GOP strategist calling everybody a panickin. And I can understand, like, yes, there's some concerns in some states like Maine, North Carolina, maybe Alaska and Ohio, and maybe Texas are closer. But basically, this entire issue comes from money. You notice that they only mention money. This sounds more like a fundraising scheme. Guys, we're going to lose all these Senate races. Give us money. And again, we don't have a money issue. Democrats do. They don't have infinite money. We have Elon Musk again. He will casually drop like $10 billion, which he's not going to, but he could. And it would mean nothing to him. Democrats really don't got that. You got the investigations into Act Blue, which is collapsing as we speak still. And all these other groups Republicans have, they're raising a bunch of money. They have fuck you money galore. So I'm not saying to guarantee Republicans win the Senate, not 100% guarantee. I think, with Trump being more unpopular, the state of the economy being questionable, yes, Democrats, their chances to win the Senate has gone up. But if we're worried about money, we shouldn't be. Like, okay, we have bad polling numbers, but if you're concerned about the money aspect, why? You have infinite money. Now, if people are still panicking about this, like it's all over, Did people forget about 2016 where Republicans did the same thing? Back in August of 2016, Republicans were warning Trump, we're going to lose the Senate because of you. You're losing every state by 15 points. The same thing happened then. 2018 from Axios. You had GOP operatives running to Axios and claiming that Trump is going to cost Republicans the Senate. We all know what happened. Democrats got their ass kicked in the Senate, and it could have been a lot worse, realistically. But still, this happens every year. No matter what the environment is, 2020, same thing, which we know 2020 was a very unique election for COVID and obvious reasons. Republicans were worried they're going to lose the Senate outright. They lost a couple Senate seats and went to 50-50, but they were thinking they're going to be down to like 47 seats. It was 50-50, despite everything that happened in 2020. And they were a couple thousand votes shy in Georgia from having a straight up majority. This happens every single year. This is nonsensical. And I'm looking at the Axios article. They mentioned special elections. Yeah, Republicans have underperformed every special election since Trump became president. This is back in 2018. And people used as proof then that Republicans were to lose the Senate. Yeah. This has been going on for years. This happens every time. Every time the Senate's up for re-election or whatever, Republicans panic, everybody shits the bed, and it's not as bad as people think. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm not saying that Republicans are going to have 56 Senate seats or whatever. They could lose a couple seats. But right now, if they're worried about money, why? Okay, spend 10 million extra in Kentucky or Ohio. Okay, what they do? You got Elon Musk. Well, he could spend $10 billion if he wanted to. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.